Good afternoon. This is Mary Ann Mahoney, the Executive Director of the Boulder Convention and Visitors Bureau. And this is a presentation of the Boulder CVB and the Downtown Partnerships collaboration on recovery for COVID. This is a collaboration that has been in the works since early May, but we just wanted to share all of the values of what we've come up with in conjunction, in collaboration, and with limited resources. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so one of the things, the spreadsheet there shows you kind of a snapshot of how we're really collaborating in different mediums, in different avenues to deliver the Boulder message. Just to remind some folks, the CVB focus has always been national and not necessarily around Colorado and in Colorado. This summer, we are in fall, we're doing looking at locals, being Boulder and Boulder County residents, in-state regional, and then the drive markets. And then Downtown Partnership, they'll show you their information, but they've focused on locals, Denver Metro, and in-state region as well. It'll be continual coverage from the beginning of June through the end of the year. And we'll talk about that some more. But combined spending between the two organizations is, media buys is about $300,000. And again, there's additional costs for creative and production. So as you can see, we really wanted to be cautious of how we were moving forward. Next slide, please. Okay, so what's happening now? This is Kim's presentation, and she's been doing an amazing job on behalf of all of Boulder. So go ahead, Kim.
Great. If we could just go back to that last slide, one more second, the last one there, to that flow chart. And you see in green, that's downtown Boulder. And then blue is this, the green is downtown Boulder and the blue is the CVB. And downtown Boulder, majority of their campaigns start a little bit later. And the CVB's has been underway. You can go to the next couple slides. The CVB slides are underway and happening right now. And the begin, be safe, be local. This is the theme for our first phase. I like this tempered approach. It kind of alludes to if you are ready to get out there, be safe, and be local. Next slide, please. We started working on the recovery campaign, like Mary Ann said, in early May. We met each week along with the Boulder Chamber and the Small Business Development Center, and Terry with Downtown Boulder Partnership, who's on the call with us, the city, and the CVB. And this first phase is really focused on residents and the front rangers. And like Mary Ann said, this is a big shift for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. In the past, we've promoted Boulder primarily to people further away. And we know that Terry and Downtown Partnership, I've tried to jam up two words there. Downtown Boulder Partnership are marketing locally and regionally, and it's worked well. But these are extraordinary times that need extraordinary effort. So we have shifted to market more locally and to market during the summer. That's another big shift for us. Usually we market only in the winter time. The building confidence and creating demand, that has been our guiding principle for the CVB, that if people are ready to travel, or if they're almost ready, then we want to project the message of Boulder is ready for them and safe. This if we were to look back, but we're not going to, if we were to look back at that flow chart, it would show paid advertising in the green and the blue, and then there was a little bit of yellow in there, which is editorial coverage. And we know that media relations and editorial is important because consumers view it as much more believable and trustworthy than advertising. So here's an article that came out in June in the Denver Life magazine. They did a big feature on getaways for Aspen, Colorado Springs, Denver, Telluride, Vail. We hear that there's also a big feature coming in 5280 magazine in September, and we're working with the Colorado Tourism Office's Public Relations Office to find more opportunities like this one. This was a dream, really. Okay, the next slide. This is a photograph of the ad that the Convention and Visitors Bureau had in the June issue of 5280. It was a full page ad. Again, this is a big diversion for the CVB. Typically, we don't do print ads. We concentrate mostly on digital ads, but again, extraordinary times mean extraordinary measures. This was obviously focused on the Front Range, and there's our tagline again: begin, be safe, be local. On the next slide, it shows the other things that we're working with on 5280. This is the newsletter on the left that went out last week, all about moms. I don't know if you can read that there, a wine-free, not wine-free mom's getaway to Boulder. And then on the right are ads that you'll see on their website now through October. The next slide. These are examples of ads that you might have seen in June, really geared towards locals. We're experimenting with photos, with copy, with headlines. They performed really well. They started on June 12th, and the local campaign will start to transition more towards regional and national ads. There are 8 ads geared towards Front Range, Colorado, and Drive markets. And on the next slide, you'll see some of those. These are some Facebook ads that are geared towards Front Rangers, national audiences, as well as regional audiences. It says there they started June 15th, but they really started towards the national audiences on July 1st, just last week. That first one is all about being outside and how Boulder is really well suited with all of the open land, and our little town is well suited for being outside and feeling a little more confident about being outside in those spaces and not so compact. The middle ad is the mom's ad again, and then that third ad is all about summer vacations. We also have other themes going, what to do right now in Boulder, a peaceful, easy feeling. There's a few others, and like I said, we're just experimenting with photos and headlines and copy to find what works really well. We've hired a person to help manage all of this. It's a lot. And they are keeping a really close eye on how these perform and what photos perform better, and we'll just keep switching them out. And as the time goes on and more towards fall, we might replace them with more fallish looking and focused ads. On the next slide, we look at campaign that we're doing with Colorado.com on their website. These are ads that are running, things to do in Boulder even now, and then that mom's getaway ad. There are 7 million people that come to Colorado.com every year, and they are super interested in visiting Colorado, and this was one of the first places that we worked hard to get ads appearing on. We'll change these out again in the fall. We also, just today, I don't know if you guys saw it, just today there was a newsletter that went out to Colorado subscribers, 24,000 subscribers. We'll send another one in September to Colorado subscribers, and then another one in October to the national subscribers. On the next slide, it talks more now about our website. And this is one the very first photo you'll see on our website. This was one of the first things we did. Our website, we know, is our #1 marketing tool. We get 1 million users each year. 80% of them come because they're just Googling around looking for information about Boulder, and they land here. You know, we heard that people are wondering what's happening in Boulder on the ground right now. And it's surprising that, you know, I was just at the doctor's office a few weeks ago, and the nurse was from Lafayette, and we were talking about what I do, and she said, "Oh, Kim, you know, are things even open in Boulder right now? Are the trails open? Is Pearl Street open?" And I thought, wow, if people in Lafayette, which is 5 or 10 miles down the road and still in Boulder County, don't even know what is happening in Boulder, which is really not surprising because we're all just stuck at home. And it made me realize that we need to get really specific and really granular about the information that we are giving people. So on this page, what to expect right now in Boulder, it talks about the trails are open, hotels are open, shops are open. Do you have to wear face covering? And we update it weekly. I hear that some hotels are even including this page in with their confirmation, just to give people a better idea of really what to expect in Boulder. On the next slide, it talks more about other pages and other content that we're creating about the situation right now. Things you can do in Boulder right now, 6 ways to support local businesses, ways to shop and dine safely, a date, weekend itinerary. We changed our 4th of July page to show people in face coverings, and that Boulder is ready. If you are ready to come, Boulder's ready too, and this is what it looks like. On the next slide, this is a list of what we're doing right now and what we've done and what we plan on doing. Phase 2, like I said, has begun. We've started advertising nationally. We'll get our TripAdvisor ads going soon. Our 3rd restaurant audit is almost done. A lot of you have probably already heard about Marianne's amazing project on her hotel safety campaign, where we are making videos of every hotel in town and showing visitors and potential visitors what Boulder hotels are doing to keep them safe. And it all goes back to that building confidence theme. On the next slide, we're going to show you a couple videos that we've created. The first one is all about Park to Park. It's that shuttle that runs from downtown up to Chautauqua. Oh, this first one, okay, sorry. This is the Park to Park video. Go ahead, Terry, thank you. So that's an ad that we created in conjunction with the city to promote Park to Park and the shuttle and the not very great parking situation up at Chautauqua in the summertime. And then this is an ad that's a little more ground roots. all about Begin, Be Safe, Be Local. Thanks, Terry. And that's the CVB's campaign and things that have started, and we'll just continue with that. And now Terry's going to take it from here and talk about what's underway with Downtown Boulder Partnership marketing.
Thank you, Kim and Marianne. I am happy to be here. Before I get started, I just want to give you all a little background on the Downtown Boulder Partnership and how our marketing and budgets work. So the marketing element of Downtown Boulder falls under our Business Improvement District. Funds are allocated to the marketing budget, are approved by our Board of Directors yearly, and an operating plan is signed off on by City Council. Historically, in addition to bid funding for brand marketing, the marketing budget includes money from our Downtown Boulder Foundation to help cover marketing expenses. So while we are not doing as many events as we normally do, we are transitioning our Bands on the Bricks weekly concert series into a virtual series called Bands Above the Bricks, and that receives its own campaign. And I'm not sharing that with you now, but please look for information. Ads and details are coming out soon. Bands Above the Bricks kicks off on July 15th. I want to mention also that Downtown Boulder's collaboration efforts with the Boulder CVB go back decades. Marianne sits on the BIDS marketing committee, and we are in very close contact on a variety of projects yearly. Marketing efforts for each organization have historically focused on different audiences, with the CVB's outreach on a national level, while the BID has focused in state. As Marianne mentioned, everything kicked off in early May as we began laying the groundwork for a close collaboration. Downtown Boulder hosted a residential readiness survey. We actually, in a very short time, I think it was 10 days total, we asked and got responses back from over 1,000 Boulder County residents, and just gauging their fears, not only on COVID, but the economy. And so a lot of the building blocks for Downtown Boulder's campaign specifically came out of the research from that survey, and then a lot of other surveys that we are closely paying attention to from our partners across many different areas. So I'm going to go back to this flow chart just to point out a few things, and I actually blew it up. I know that's a little bit hard to see, so let me share a bigger screen with you all. As Kim mentioned, the green is stuff that the Downtown Boulder Partnership is working on, and the blue is Convention and Visitors Bureau. So if you look up top, our focus has been for the past few weeks a close partnership with the Daily Camera, running full and half-page ads, just reminding everybody that Downtown Boulder businesses are open. We're slowly transitioning into 2 other campaigns that I'll be sharing with you shortly. The Daily Camera buy has only been placed through August, and then I will continue through the rest of the year, but I'm placing it cautiously as we're watching trends on a weekly basis. In addition, we have a strong presence in the Boulder Weekly, and as Marianne and Kim both mentioned, we've always had a really close partnership with 5280 Magazine. We are very fortunate that the September issue will include a 10-page editorial that was being planned for Boulder anyway. They've since adjusted. Kim and I have been in close contact with the writers, and they've adjusted content. For the first time ever, we're going to share the back page ad of the magazine of the September issue. So you'll find a nice joint ad from the 2 organizations. And then October, November, and December, the Downtown Boulder Partnership will be running full page ads in the magazine. In addition, and much like what the Convention and Visitors Bureau is doing on top of that with 5280.com and some social media stuff. We'll have very strong presence now all the way through the end of the year with the magazine, and a great audience to have for day trips and short stays into Boulder. Going down here a little bit, I just want to note some of the stuff in green that we're working on. We've never done streaming TV before, but as many of you may be in this category, streaming TV numbers have gone through the roof in the past few months. So we're really excited to try this new strategy between Netflix and Apple TV and all of that great stuff. In addition, we will be on air with Pandora. We'll also go back and do some traditional television broadcast TV spots with one station, not sure which station, most likely 9 News, but those will run in flight, one coming up in a few weeks and then the other concentrated into the holiday season. In addition, we are running programmatic ads through a variety of websites that are geo-targeted to get the audience that we're aiming for through a cross of websites that'll give us the biggest bang for our buck with our budgets. The last thing to mention is through the Downtown Boulder Foundation, we have a Google AdWords grant program that historically for the past 2 years has performed extremely well for us. And Kim and I were just on a call on last week to make sure that the money that the CVB is spending on Google digital ads and what we're doing with Google AdWords grants are complementing each other and directing people to all of the information on both of our websites that will give people the best overview of what's happening in Boulder. Let's switch back to the presentation. So as I mentioned, we are right now launching We're Back Boulder, our first branding campaign effort to let everybody know that we're open, that businesses are ready to greet them. We will slowly transition this into a secondary campaign called For the Love of Boulder later this year, and I'll show you both as we move forward. The We're Back Boulder campaign, the message is simple. Sometimes it's helpful to take a pause to reassess how we do life, how we do work, and how those two things work together. Sometimes when you go away, you come back changed. You come back with a new perspective, and now we're finally back. It's in the coming back that we've become better than ever before. We're back smarter, we're back safer, we're back happier, we're back kinder, we're back smilier, we're back better, we're back bolder, and we can't wait for you to be back too. While we were getting the assets ready to launch this campaign, I mentioned we started in with daily camera ads. So in the middle of June and currently still running, we have full page ads, 2 versions that are rotating in the daily camera, full and half page versions. A similar look to this went out in a digital direct mail piece to over 200,000 Boulder County resident email addresses. And we have a pretty extensive campaign on the dailycamera.com with sliding billboards and edge-to-edge ads, reminding people that we're open as well. We had a big photo shoot similar to what the CVB put together last week, where we focused on masks and social distancing best practices. We are really proud of the photo shoot. I might have skipped a slide, sorry. Put it out of order. I'm really proud of the photo shoot because what we were able to do is we hired 12 quote unquote models. They were all downtown employees who were laid off or who had hours significantly reduced due to COVID. We offered them a $400 stipend for a day of work, and we got some really fantastic shots and really met a great group of people, and it was nice to be able to help them out a little bit. So similar to what the CVB strategy is with paid social, the Downtown Boulder Partnership has always enjoyed a very robust organic social media following, and we continue to put out content reminding people to follow social guidelines And I have accompanied that with a paid social campaign reminding people that downtown businesses are back open and also to be safe and to come downtown. So this is an example of the programmatic ads that are going to be running this week, and again goes back to that manifesto I shared on the brand with you a few slides back. So we are just coming back with images and trying to show people in short little bursts, we're back safer, we're back bubblier, we're back smarter. And again, these are running on a variety of websites over the next couple of months. What's nice about this also is depending on what trends are with the virus and how numbers are moving, we can put a pause on this at any time and then restart it back up when appropriate. This is an example of a 5280 ad, again, kind of the manifesto of being back. The signatures, the idea is business owners would sign this as a manifesto saying how we promise to treat you when you come to Boulder and what we're doing to make sure that you have a pleasant experience. If you go around downtown, hopefully you guys will start noticing all of these window clings on the businesses. Again, it's just a visual reminder. A lot of people are coming downtown and are enjoying the outdoors. Not a lot of people are going inside retailers specifically. So we want a big visual to tie everything together and remind everybody that we're back. Again, going along the lines of what Kim showed you with the CVB website, lovethelocal.com is our vanity URL that we've devoted entirely to updates of current listings and, again, working really closely with the CVB. If you go to lovethelocal.com, you'll find a separate page for retailers and one for restaurants, which we're auditing on a weekly basis. So we are trying to make sure our businesses are front and center and everybody knows exactly who's open and how to support them. Once that we've established that we're open and people feel more comfortable coming down, understanding the safety guidelines that have been established, we're going to roll into the second phase of the brand campaign called For the Love of Boulder. This one is meant to pull at your heartstrings a little bit more and to really make you understand how important it is that you come out and support small businesses. So just a real quick overview. For the love of chocolate, of great jeans, of a perfect latte, or a really late brunch. For the love of sushi, of artists, of sparkly bat bowls, and toddler fountain waddles. It's for the love of all these things that we invite you to come back to Boulder and support the local businesses that bring those loves into your life. Because without your help, not only does the love fade, but the businesses might too. The September back cover ad that we're sharing is going to play off For the Love of Boulder theme as we invite people to both of our websites to share information. And again, our website and all of our collateral will transition as we move to the next phase of the campaign. And I'm going to share with you our quick 30-second video that hopefully you'll start seeing on streaming TV and other places in the very near future. So the 30-second and a 15-second version of that campaign. As I mentioned at the beginning, it took a minute to get us up and running, but we have been extremely thorough in our background information, pulling from the best sources of how to move forward. So this is just an example of the things that we've collaborated on and paid attention to nationally and internationally. The International Downtown Association for us, Destination Analysts is a great resource, and Marianne's going to share some details pulled from them. But this is just to show all of you that we are working in a much bigger atmosphere to make sure that we understand things from not only a local level, but a national level. And we're trying to follow best practices and best examples from downtown districts and other cities throughout the entire nation. Just some quick reflections, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Marianne to share some specific research. Again, our campaigns are combined, bigger and more consistent than ever before, with Downtown Boulder putting an extra emphasis on locals and the CVB expanding to engagement with drive markets. The flowchart indicates marketing happening across many platforms. So again, we have traditional media mixed with streaming and paid social. So Boulder will be very well represented throughout the remainder of the year. You know, a special shout out to Marianne and Kim, who have been working so incredibly hard, especially when this all first happened, and pulled together a lot of different tactics and strategies despite a lot of challenges that they were faced with. And the partnership is so thankful for our collaboration and everything that's been able to come together. And again, you know, the Downtown Boulder, we will go through a natural progression of transitioning people from our one branding campaign to the other. And we're really excited to share that with everybody. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Marianne to share some additional research and the conclusion of the presentation.
Oh, Terry, thanks. And Terry and Kim for your thoughtful presentation. As Terry shared with you, a destination analyst has been doing their market research. We're now in week 17 that I watched this morning. We haven't updated these slides for a couple weeks, but it's all pretty relevant. But I won't go through all the details because we'll send this video out and you can digest some of the information. But I just want to have you understand that we're not working in a vacuum, and we're hearing the urgency of our partners, and we feel the urgency every day. But we also need to make sure that we're looking at people that are ready to travel, that feel comfortable traveling, and what we're delivering to them, as you've just shown, and being responsible to our business owners and being responsible to our residents. And that's why we have reshot assets to show people in face covers. Next slide, please. So again, this is what we're seeing as not ready to travel in the research. It went up and then it went down, but really the highest percentage of people not ready to travel is there, and the ready to travel is a very, very small percentage, and that's who we're really looking towards. Next slide, please. And again, these are questions that are asked week after week in the next month. How, if at all, do you expect the severity of the coronavirus situation in the United States to change? This is increased in that week study. In the last 2 weeks, it's increased even more with more outbreaks. So again, people in the next month are being hesitant to plan their travel. Next slide, please. This slide has changed again in the last 2 weeks of that the much worse category has gone up over the last 2 weeks. And you can see that week, that sweet spot, June 5 through 7. And this was about the same time, if you see this slide, of where the Boulder COVID cases came out about the same time, about the week of June 12th and the week of June 19th. But again, people are becoming more and more apprehensive as the COVID breakout is continuing to cross the nation. Next slide, please. This is again about your personal safety and again, safety of friends and family. Next slide, please. Again, road trips versus and dining in restaurants with the comfort level of, again, where people are. And again, it's what your personal comfort level is. Next slide, please. How much do you agree with the following statement? In my community, restaurants and retail stores are generally managing customer safety appropriately. So about 60%, and I think that in our, if we took another survey in Boulder, I think a lot of our community members would feel the same way. Next slide, please. How satisfied are you with people in your community of doing the following? Retail stores, operations and etiquette, treating other people with respect, restaurant operations and etiquette, keeping appropriate social distance. It kind of starts wearing down, and then wearing masks in public. And we've heard this a lot from people. And again, people being in the community, you can't tell if it's a community member or not. But again, I think people are concerned that there are people not wearing masks in public. Next slide, please. Again, in my community, too many people are not wearing face masks in public. This is probably what we're all hearing. Next slide. How often do you personally wear a face mask? Next slide. I'll continue. Let's just go through and just click through these next ones, Terry, because people can read them at the leisure. As far as key takeaways, I think this is something that we're just going to continue to follow. Next slide, next slide, next slide, next slide. So that is the end of our presentation. And Terry, I think